Hello there, everyone, and welcome to Coffee Shop Thursday. Going to do things a little different during this season of Lent. I'm going to be taking a walk out back, regardless of the weather. So if it's thunderstorming, I better have a good umbrella, and there better not be any wind. But hey, we just went through a pretty tough time. We didn't get it nearly as bad as they thought we would. Right here in our little neck of the woods, we got mostly sleet. A little bit of freezing rain just south of us, but my daughter out in Jackson, Michigan, well, let's put it this way. We're making a little trip halfway out there to pick up the 3 grandkids because they are estimating power will be restored maybe by next Monday. Yeah, that's how bad things are. So they are deeply in the cold, and they're going to come spend some time with us. So got to make a little trip to the other side of Cleveland. We'll do that. But hey, making trips, going here, going there, that's what Jesus did, and that's what's going to be the theme of our Coffee Shop Thursdays during this Lenten season. It's a book that Janice picked up for me called Meeting Jesus at the Table. Yeah, wherever Jesus went and he taught and he healed, he ended up eating. You got to eat, right? And he would often eat with lots of people. So yeah, just looking at that, the very first chapter, I'm just going to go chapter by chapter, not today, but during this Lenten season, give you a little brief overview. And if you want, pick up the book, Meeting Jesus at the Table, if there's still any available. Written by 2 really awesome Presbyterian pastors, and they're both women, and they do an awesome job with this meditation. The first one, Dining alfresco. Dining alfresco, not Alfredo. Come on, I like Alfredo sauce just like anyone else, but alfresco, out in the open. Isn't that what Jesus did? That's how it really starts with Jesus. He's dining out in the open. We all do that, especially in the summertime. Who doesn't now? It's kind of crazy, you know, all the snow that we have here. And like I said, we didn't get it nearly as bad. There's no ice, hardly any ice hanging from the trees, but I'm walking through about 3 inches of, well, a little bit of snow, but mostly sleet. It was just horrible last night. But so I would not be dining al fresco today out here, but Jesus did that. In fact, there's a story that's found in all 4 Gospels. In fact, there are 6 incidences in the life of Jesus besides his death and resurrection that are recorded in the Gospels. And one of those is him feeding big groups of people, 4,000 one time, 5,000 another, depending on the Gospel that you're reading. And so yeah, al fresco, they're out there. These people would come to fill a need, an inner need in their lives. And that need was met. But there was another need that wasn't met at the time, and that was they were hungry. Well, Jesus meets that need too for them. And we have the beautiful story of the couple fish and the loaves of bread and how they're shared and there's abundance left over. It just really depends on which story you're reading and just how it goes. But put it this way, there was more than enough, more than enough to go around. Great abundance for thousands of people. Men, women, children, they were all there. Jesus meets our needs in that way. But as you read these stories, it brings to mind a couple other things that happen. And they mention a couple of them, but one of them is how when we went through the pandemic times and everything was shut down, you remember how you got to thinking about getting enough to eat, and there was rushing on the grocery stores, and but also just in our own country, the number of children that were dependent on those free breakfasts and lunches that they got at school, they weren't getting those anymore. So we found ways to make sure we got that to them, and and just the whole fact that suddenly a lot of people became aware of the food deserts that we have right within our cities. Yeah, in some areas where you can't get fresh food anywhere within the city limits, or very few places within the city limits. All things like that, food, and how as God's people, we are called to act with Jesus to meet those needs. And that truly is meeting Jesus at the table. That table might be just a blanket that's spread out on the ground because we're having a picnic, alfresco, but at the same time, it's just a wonderful way in which we can be a part of ushering in this thing called God's kingdom, which is exactly what Jesus does all through the Gospels. So as we have our time together with Coffee Shop Thursday, and you better, even if you're outside, take your mug. And don't worry, I'll be swapping out the winter mugs real soon. Hey, had to keep it back here. You still got all this winter snow out here. But we're going to be talking about just how we meet Jesus at the table, what he brings to the table for you and me, and what we take away from that table. All right, well, God's blessings be with you. Get outside, and if it's snowy and cold where you're at, go out there and bounce around in it for a little bit today. After all, we don't have that many more days left of cold weather, just enough to say, come on, spring. Hardly wait, because maybe then we will go dining al fresco. God's blessings be with you.